And welcome, everybody, to another episode of Come Play With Us, Danny, the horror movie review podcast hosted by myself and my sister, Megan. Welcome in, everybody. And, of course, make sure to go to our YouTube page and subscribe and hit the notification bell at Come Play With Us, Danny show. We have a great show. I'm actually really excited about this show. Tonight, we are reviewing Scream VI. Megan, yes. Are you excited? Are you excited? I'm excited.
I'm so excited.
You're so excited. I'm so happy.
I'm very excited.
I'm so excited that you're so excited.
I'm very excited.
I'm so excited. You're so excited.
Oh, there we go. There's the official trailer.
So you saw this today, right?
I did, yes.
I saw this last weekend. I took your niece and her friend.
Yes. Sip of water for this, because
no, sip of wine. I brought the wine.
Sip of wine. Oh, you've got the wine. That's wonderful. I don't have the wine. I have the water.
Okay, well, I've got the wine this time.
Okay.
So you have fresh eyes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my eyes are pretty fresh because I've been kind of like diving deep into this movie. I've been kind of really analyzing it and replaying it in my mind about things that I liked, disliked, things that I wish would have been a little bit different.
Okay.
So should we go into what we liked first and then what we didn't like? What do you think?
Sure.
Okay.
Let's go. Let's start off with a great note. Let's start off with a wonderful note.
All right. So the premise is Scream VI, of course, is the 2023 American slasher film directed by Matt Bettinelli-Olpin and Tyler Gillett and written by James Vanderbilt and Guy Busick. It is the sequel to Scream V, or Scream 2022, and the sixth installment in the Scream film series. The film stars Melissa Barrera, Jasmin Savoy Brown, Mason Gooding, Jenna Ortega, Hayden Panettiere back as Kirby, and Courteney Cox, of course, reprising her role as Gail Weathers, alongside of Jack Champion, Henry Cezerny, Liana Liberato, Dermot Mulroney, and Samara Weaving. The Scream VI, of course, takes everything out of Woodsboro and goes to New York City.
Fantastic. The Big Apple
City. So, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on Scream VI?
Okay, well, I went into this with a very open mind.
Me too, as well. I did as well.
I loved all the trailers. The trailers are kind of what got me to the point where I'm like, all right, cool. This may be not such a letdown, because, you know, as any type of movie, if you continue it or keep continuing it as far as they've done the Scream franchise at this point,
right,
that you start to lose the storyline, you start to lose characters, everything just gets kind of stupid, and it looks like you've just added things just for the hell of it. You know,
it almost seems like you lose that that panache, or that's something I don't know what. You know what I mean? Like the fresh takes on.
No,
the
I agree.
Movies.
Yeah,
because the first three were so iconic, and then you know we both saw. You saw Scream 4, right?
Yes, I've seen all of them.
Yeah, so we've seen all of them. I mean, Scream 4 to me was kind of like it's almost like the Star Wars Rise of Skywalker, the Indiana Jones, and the Crystal Skulls movie. It's like it wasn't necessary. You know what I mean?
Why here?
Why? Yes, exactly. Like, why are you trying to, like, hey, we've got our main three. Why are you trying to maybe? I know. Obviously it's a cash grab. You want to reinvigorate the franchise because it's an iconic franchise. But Scream 4 to me was just kind of like a misstep. And then Scream 5, I think, really. It was almost like a breath of fresh air because of the way they kind of tried to redo of course they mentioned it in the movie in Scream 6, the requel. You know, it's like the prequel, it's like a requel to a reboot, so it's a requel. So Scream 5 did that, and now it really carries over into Scream 6. Now, I loved the beginning. I love the fact that, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen Scream 6 yet,
don't watch the show.
Yeah, don't watch the show. Don't listen.
Don't listen to us. Don't listen to it.
I love the fact that, you know, obviously you start off with the normal Scream movies where somebody's answering the phone and then they get killed. But then the killers reveal who they are in the first 10 minutes of the film, and then they get killed by another set of killers. I love that. I think that really kicked open the door to like, okay, because I was expecting, okay, it's a normal Scream opening, but then when that happened, I was like, oh, we're in for something a little bit different here. Okay.
Mixed feelings.
You do? Okay.
I had mixed feelings about that first scene. And again, if you have not seen this movie yet, please don't listen, don't watch. But
well, we want you to listen and watch, just not if you haven't seen this movie.
Yeah. So I had mixed feelings about that first scene where, you know, the professor's at the bar, she's talking to somebody on her, like some guy she met on her app. Mm-hmm. It leads kind of into that, well, I have a feeling this is going to end up being Ghostface. And what it happens is she ends up getting killed and then
sliced and diced.
Yeah. Now I do have to say, on a side note for this movie, I was actually just saying this recently today to my wife, that I appreciate the slash and gore factor in this movie.
Question for you. Did you think, now obviously they hyped this up as like the goriest, bloodiest Scream. Do you concur with that? Because to me, yes, it was more bloody. I don't necessarily think it was gory. I mean, it was gory, but not to like, not Evil Dead Rise gory.
No.
You know what I mean?
Not on like that type of level gore, but I do agree that it was gory on the fact of, out of all the Scream movies, this one most definitely was
the bloodiest and the goriest. Yeah.
Yes. And because these scenes were more graphic than they have been in the past, now, like there were certain scenes where, you know, in the very first movie where Stu and Billy get stabbed, and you can kind of see the whole, like, you know, their stomachs are bleeding, blah, blah, blah.
Well, even in the first film where where you see Casey Becker's boyfriend who was disemboweled, you see that in the opening scene of the actual original Scream movie. So
yes, but I think this one was a lot more graphic with things to where you could see it a lot more, and it was more of a real type of situation. I mean, like I said, the first scene, it was kind of cool. She gets killed in the alley, and then all of a sudden the guy takes off his mask, and I was like,
this is different. Yeah.
Okay, let's just see where this goes.
Right.
And then, you know, it goes into the scene where he goes home. I think that scene was done okay. Mm-hmm. I feel like there should have been more to it, if that makes any sense.
I can see where that comes from. I like the opening scene, especially where he reveals himself, he's a killer, and then they're trying to, like, you know, carry on the stab movies, or per se. I wish they could have maybe gotten a better actor to portray, because the guy that portrayed the first killer is the guy that played. He was in the Spider-Man movies, and he's kind of a goofy comedic actor. So I didn't really. I'm glad he got sliced and diced.
He was just way too casual about it.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like they could have dived in a little bit more if they were going to do that on that situation. It was just kind of like, he sits down and does a couple shots. Yeah, I killed the bitch. She was our, you know, instructor. And that to me was a little too, like,
really nonchalant. Like, hey, I just killed.
Yeah.
Her. Yeah. But I do love the fact that they just really switched up where in the beginning of the film, hey, they reveal a killer, and then he's just kind of going back to his apartment to meet up with his partner in crime, who is, you know, we find out later he's in the fridge and he's sliced and diced himself. Yeah.
In pieces. So, no, I agree that I think that them heading the first couple scenes differently was very interesting. It was one of those where I haven't lost interest within the first 10 minutes, and I'm like, I can't watch this anymore.
Right.
So
I there's something now. I love the shrine.
Yes.
When they bring everybody into the shrine, where they have everything pretty much from all previous movies in there, all the
props,
the cloaks, like drawings. That was really cool. I thought that was just an homage to all the Scream movies, where, and I'm going to talk about this later in the show, where maybe they could have had a different type of killer than the killers that they had. And I'll talk about this later in the movie. But I like that. Look, they had this Gail finds this abandoned like theater. They come in there, and it's like it was like I got goosebumps like watching that scene, because it's like nostalgia. You see everything from before. Like you saw the TV that Stu's head got bashed in with. You see Billy's bloody shirt. You see You see when Derek from Scream 2, he was held up in that stage prop where he was propped up. You see all those types of nuggets from those Easter eggs from the previous Scream films. And
Piper's clothes was actually in that too.
Yeah, it was really cool how they did that. So I like that. Scene where they did that. It was cool that they brought back Kirby. I'm not buying the whole FBI thing though. I'm not.
No, and what the hell happened to Hayden Panettiere's face?
I don't know. Old age, maybe Botox, maybe.
She's not that old though. She's younger than you and I both.
Yeah,
she's only in her 30s. Like I don't know if they try to make her look older in that movie.
Well, she said in the film she is 30. She's like, I am 30.
She looked horrible. Like when she brought it back, I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, what
she looked very puffy. And nothing against Hayden Panettiere. Nothing. No. She just looked puffy, and like her acting was kind of just weird. Yeah. It just like I know she'd been out of the game for 4 years, but it just looked really wooden and weird. I
think they could have brought somebody else back.
Well, no, I think because remember they left it ambiguous in Scream 4 with her. So I know glad that they brought her back, but I think they could have brought her back in some other capacity, saying, "Oh, she's now an FBI agent."
Yeah, that was kind of like really random. Like just going, all of a sudden she's FBI, and even Gail Weathers was like, "Aren't you just a child? Like what?"
Yeah. Oh no, I'm 30. I'm 30 years old. Yeah, I just think they kind of like maybe kind of shoehorned that in there. Like, hey, we got to give Kirby something to do, and now she's an FBI agent. She's on the case. What were your thoughts? I really liked how they handled Courteney Cox and Gail Weathers' character. I liked how they did her character in this film, where she wasn't like the center of attention, where they handled her as a legacy character pretty well. And like that scene in her apartment where she's on the phone with Ghostface for the very first time, fun fact, where she hadn't been talking to him before, and then the fight scene ensued. I think that was a great scene. That was a fantastic scene. Fantastic.
I agree. I think that how they kind of sprinkled her into the movie really did it justice, because I think if they focused too much on her, then it kind of would have spoiled it. I don't think that they could have, they should have made her like a long-standing character. Yeah, granted, she had a huge fight scene. However, the dude they got was her boyfriend. Sir, you were killed within the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, no, dude, you got sliced and diced, and Courteney Cox outlasted you.
I feel like he probably shouldn't have been in the shot or even in the movie. Like, I don't. Right. That's just like an extra body count. All of a sudden, he was a big black dude too. Like he was a big dude. So
Did you get the feeling of now, since she's survived after being like impaled by a big glass shard, she's now like the new Dewey?
Probably, if they bring her back.
They probably will bring her. She survived. I mean, so now she's like the new Dewey, because she got pretty messed up, and now she's alive still.
Yeah,
she's the new, in honor of Dewey. She's now the new Dewey.
She'll probably be on a hover round or something or whatever. I mean, at this point, she won't be able to walk. She's paralyzed, because Dewey was paralyzed on one side from his gunshot. So
he had the limp.
The limp.
I didn't. There were certain things of the film I didn't really. There was too many people in the film.
Okay,
there's too many. There's too many.
Explain.
Too many side characters, too many people, and too many people survived.
Okay.
Too many people survived. Now I know that the twin brother that got. I mean, he got like stabbed. He got prison stabbed like a lot in the last 20 minutes, and he survived. And then you have his sister who got, she got stabbed up. Kirby got stabbed up. She survived. Courteney Cox got stabbed up. She survived. Like, you had too many people survive. If you're going to go into Scream 7, people got to go. Like, people have to go. I mean, I think there was more survivors than there were people killed in actual Scream 6. I didn't like that. I didn't like there were so many people that survived.
I kind of wish that Hayden Panettiere was killed. Is that bad to say?
No, that's not bad to say, because her character, as much as I think she is a fan favorite, Kirby's character, she just really didn't bring much to the table. Like, she didn't really I think she was a wasted character, and I really thought when she got stabbed in the same spot she got stabbed in Scream 4,
that was it.
That was that. But
no,
of course she comes back. So
I mean, I kind of agree. I kind of agree on not many people got killed and there was too many survivors. I kind of get
too
that.
many.
I
Too
get
many.
that. But
Too
you
many.
have to think of how, so like the twin brother and his sister, you know, the twin brother was Jenna Ortega's love interest. And of course they would have kept him.
Right.
But, you know,
But it would have been noble for him to die.
well, I mean, how do you not die from getting shanked that many times?
I
Like,
mean, he got stabbed by 2 people. I mean, come on.
I mean, even a bulletproof vest at that point can't help you. Like, I don't know how that even happens. And I
don't
just,
know.
I don't think they
dull knives. Dull knives. They stabbed him by spoons. Spoons and dull knives.
dull
Spoons and knives.
God. I mean, I think this movie was very well planned out.
Yes, I agree.
I think this movie was very well. I mean, the acting I think was great, except for a couple people that I'm like.
Oh,
why?
I'll tell you
Okay,
one. You one in general who was really over the top and should have like just been slapped around. Like Dermot Mulroney overacted that movie like a mofo.
So I don't want to skip. I have a chunk of Dermot Mulroney that I kind of want to get out. Like, but I want to pull up one person that I don't think should have been pulled into the situation. Is that random dude David or Daniel or whatever the hell his name was, the boyfriend from next door?
Oh yeah, where you thought he was like a killer and then he wasn't a killer and then
it
he
was
survived
like
at the end.
It was like the weirdest character to pull in there. Like, I would have been fine knowing that she wasn't fucking some random dude next door. Like, it would have been fine that way. Like, that was not.
I agree with you. I think that wasn't needed.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I think maybe they were having him in there where she was growing like as a person, like she was getting over her, but like I don't think it was needed, but like maybe they put him in there. It's like, oh, he could be another suspect. You know what I mean?
And that's fine, but I think they added too many people could be suspect list, just like you said,
and another person that survived.
Yeah, like he didn't have a scratch on him. Like, why not go after him? Like, he just kept popping up out of random places. Like, that's just another person that it should have been added in. I don't think it should have been added into the story, and it was kind of like a wasted spot.
I agree.
For those who are watching this right now, this is the scene where this
is the trailer for the movie.
This is the trailer. If anybody hasn't seen it, and what Evan was referring to was that whole area of like robes and masks and stuff like that. Great
part of the film. I love that scene where they just go in there and it's like, oh, from all the things.
All right, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna ask you the brutality of the killings, because a lot of the the kills in this movie were way more brutal than the first 5 movies, and it's like this. Like, man, I loved the kills because of the way they were more brutal than any of the other films. I mean, it was like, instead of like 1-2 stabs, it was like 10-12 stabs at one time. I was like, damn.
It was like prison stabs.
It's like prison stabs. Like, maybe these guys have been to prison before, and then bam. I mean, the train scene was really cool.
The train scene, which you guys can see here if you guys are watching this. So the train scene I thought was fantastic. Also because if you guys notice watching this part of the movie or the trailer, is they actually give like homage to other horror movies. Like, I thought that was the coolest scene ever, is when the train lights start to flicker and then you see like Jason, Freddy, Pinhead, you see the Babadook in the background.
Babadook was there. The Babadook.
That was like, and even
Samara, I think, from The Ring was in there too as well, if you notice that one.
There was. And then there was the kid from The Grudge that was in there too.
Yep.
Like, there was all kinds of horror icons in there. And I thought that was like by far one of the coolest scenes ever, was that train scene.
Yeah, the train scene was great, especially when the lights went out and she's just like, oh shit. And then boom.
Now the killing scenes. So the brutality of these scenes, I do think that they were, like I said, I am all about gore and slashing, and it's just one of the things that I prefer to see in a movie. I was very impressed with the way that they did this. Like, you know, even the killing, like, so the one point where they're all trying to climb out of the window and the girl's girlfriend falls off the ladder.
The ladder scene, the ladder scene was really cool, yeah.
And she hits her face on the dumpster.
Although unrealistic, because the killer disemboweled her before that, and she's somehow functioning like a normal human being. Like
Exactly,
just got
like-
stabbed almost all the way up to her breastbone.
Ma'am, you just had a knife literally just jerked up your belly button. Like, there's no way that she could have. First of all, she would have bled out within like 5 minutes.
Exactly.
Sorry. That's just the way it is.
But she had a way worse death by falling off the ladder and then hitting her face on the dumpster. So
yeah, and what I mean by graphic is you actually saw her face after it connected with the dumpster, which I was very impressed with. So I mean, I do think that the way that they offed the characters in this movie was, I mean, it gets a huge thumb up for me at this point.
Thumbs up for me as well.
Yes.
Let's talk about the ending and the reveal of the killers. You know, I texted you after I saw the movie that Scream 6 was frustrating because up until the last, 20 minutes or so, when after you had the reveal of the killers and the motives and everything, it just almost to me took kind of like a shit on the rest of the movie because I listen, if you're trying to like go to the template of Scream 2, where obviously the killer's revealed to be Billy Loomis's mom, and now you're kind of going in that same vein where the killer is Jack, his dad is revealed the killer, and the two other killers are his brother and sister. I was just like, I was let down a lot. I was let down a lot, and the motive was a letdown. It's like you could have. Now here's the segue into here's what should have happened. Now, obviously, I've been talking about this for a long time on the show about bringing back Stu. You could have brought back Stu as the killer. Okay.
I got one better for you though.
Please do.
So the one scene where the cop and he's talking about, the roommate gets killed. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Killed. Okay. Yes. She gets killed, and you got Dermot Mulroney coming out.
Overacting,
after the fact.
Overacting. Terrible.
So you got him coming out, and then he talks to Jenna Ortega, and he's talking to Melissa Barrera, and he's saying that both his kids are dead.
And also in the beginning of the film, he said, Piper, the roommate, said, yeah, my brother died last year. So it was giving kind of hints of, yeah.
So if you didn't catch the whole my brother died last year kind of thing, because I completely skipped over that part. But so what I was thinking was, this was Stu's father.
That could have been cool.
That would have been fine. That would have been
fine.
That would have been the whole like Billy Loomis's mom gateway kind of thing. I would have been okay with that. But then it turned into weird. Like, this is another parent.
Yeah, another parent.
The child has been killed, and then it gets weird. And then all three of them, and I said this to Aaliyah, they all started weirdly overacting at the end. Like they all had these personalities that came out of nowhere, and I'm like, what the fuck? Why would you do this?
It almost seemed like they all kind of took that one part of the original Scream where Stu goes, "But wait, there's more," and then just took that and then ran.
Just kept going with it. Like they all got weird and nuts all of a sudden.
They all got rubber face and tried to be like Jim Carrey but with knives.
Yeah, I was kind of really disappointed with that. Like, if you're gonna go that route, keep them at the same persona that they're at.
Yep.
And the kid that played the brother, I don't even know the guy's name at this point or whatever. He was just like the random curly head kid. That was another. Too
many survivors.
Yes.
Too many mass killers.
Yeah. Jack Champion, I guess his name is. He played Ethan Landry. So and he's that random dude that's in the shot. You're like, all right, he's either going to be a killer or he's just a body.
I agree. And for a while, I thought he was going to be a body, but then it turned out to be he's a killer.
I kind of wanted him to be a body at this point because he was.
Well, he does end up being a body.
Well, it was extremely but I think that the storyline was good, but I think they threw, like you said, they threw too many people at this.
Wait, what's the old phrase? Too many cooks in the kitchen. I think there was too many cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah.
So here's I want to dial back to. So again, in Scream 6, just like they did in Scream 5, they have, of course, Melissa Barrera's character is Billy Loomis's daughter. And then, of course, in this movie, like they did in Scream 5, they have Billy Loomis again coming back as a like spiritual guide, like, hey, let's knife up some people.
Yeah, that was weird too.
Unless they kind of like button this up at the very end in the next movie in Scream 7, there's got to be some kind of end game with this whole, hey, Billy's kind of showing up in mirrors and telling his daughter to knife up some people. There's got to be some kind of end game to this, because to me, it just seems silly that he keeps popping up unless like they're trying to make her out to be like an anti-hero where she's just knifing up the killers at the end. Because to me, it just seems kind of like, okay, you're bringing back Billy as a ghost to his daughter, where he's like that devil on her shoulder, but she's not like doing any bad things. She's just like knifing up the bad guys. You know what I mean?
No, I agree on that. Now, here's my other question. And I may have missed this. Have they had any relatives that have been related to Stu?
No.
This is like hashtag Stu conspiracy. Like,
well, so that's a good segue. So I before we started the show, I wanted to go in depth about here's how you can set up Scream 7. Okay. Which eventually is going to happen. So you can, my opening scene, or this could be an ending scene too as well. And I would love for this to happen because it's never happened in a Scream movie. I want one of the Scream movies to be a cliffhanger. And that cliffhanger is where the killer wins. Okay. So hear me out. So you know how Gail says, Sydney is obviously, she's not this, Nev Campbell's not in this movie because contract negotiations fell through. Yeah. But Gail Weathers says, hey, Sydney's taking her kids and her husband and they're going up to the cabin. Okay. That could set up Scream 7 where you could have the opening scene where the killer is going to that said cabin to knife up Sydney, or at the end of Scream 7 as a cliffhanger, that killer is going to the cabin to knife up Sydney Prescott and family.
But wouldn't that lead open to an 8?
It would lead for the cliffhanger. That would be Scream 7, the lead on the cliffhanger, where the killer wins in Scream 7, setting up Scream 8 at the end. And that killer would be Stu Macher.
Who would be old by now.
He would be in his same age as Courteney Cox, Gail Weathers, and Nev Campbell. He would still be in that age. And there would be so many because remember, it was mentioned in Scream 6 where the one of the twins, the girl twin, said, well, that's the TV that fell on Stu's head, and everybody believes he's dead. If you believe that sort of thing, it leaves so many now.
That was a gaping door. That door
has now been kicked open in this universe now, where Stu could potentially be alive and be coming back. So I'm saying, if you're gonna do Scream 7, now is your chance to do it. I would love to see a cliffhanger, Stu come back as the killer, where he's just on a rampage, and then at the end of Scream 7, where he's knifed up everybody, we've knifed up too many of the survivors from Scream 6. He's going to that cabin where it would be a triumphant return for Nev Campbell to come back and Scream 7 or 8 or whatever, where that's like the final showdown. That would be fantastic.
That's a very good premise. I like that. I like that a lot. I do think, and I said this earlier, I didn't say this earlier to you, but I was talking about it earlier, that I think that instead of having Dermot Mulroney and the two that they had in this movie, I feel like they could have brought back another older character.
Which one, though?
At this point, it could have been Stu Macher. It could have been somebody from one of the older movies.
I agree with that. I agree with that too. I agree with that too, because with the whole shrine in the movie theater, with all the memorabilia from all the past movies, that could have set up Stu saying, "Look, I've spun the wheels. I've spun everything into this moment right now where I'm back." You know what I mean?
That could have been a better. That could have been a better setup than having what they did. I feel like they kind of shoved it in as that moment, and like you said, the overacting killed the end of it.
It was terrible. I was like, man, it ruined it for me, because it was like the first, like I said, like all the movie except for the last, 20, 30 minutes. It was a great Scream movie, because I haven't seen a Scream movie since Scream 3 in the theaters. That's been a while, and
I think I haven't either, basically.
And just to have that as your reveal and as the motive was just kind of like, okay, we've seen this song and dance before.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And I'm just saying, I think with the fans and the rumors and the conspiracy theories and that line in Scream 6 where she said, if you believe that sort of thing, now is the time to bring him back. Now is the time to bring him back and bring him back in a right sort of way where, you know, you
do the movie justice. Do the movie justice by bringing. There's so many outlets that they could do with this movie by bringing him back.
He needs to be brought back, but here's the thing: I want to see where he wins. Killer wins, and then it sets up Scream 8. He wins in 7, sets up Scream 8, and then, you know, maybe that caps off this second trilogy of the second set of movies where that's that, and then boom, you can leave it alone for another 10 years and then reinvent the Scream series, because that would be such a great way to just end everything, is have him come back, knife up everybody, and then have that final showdown with Sydney, because look, she dropped the TV on his head.
Yeah, that would be great.
It's the writing's on the wall. Like it's got to happen.
I hope so.
Pay Neve Campbell her money.
Give her what she needs.
Pay her what she needs. Give Matthew Lillard a bunch of monies and do this right, because you could set it up right and you can just do it well.
I mean, they kind of poked the bear at it by pulling back Skeet Ulrich a little bit into this movie.
Yeah.
First of all, he looked horrible.
Yeah, it was like really bad, really bad deep fake, like CGI de-aging technology on him. Like,
I mean, they basically shaved him and parted his hair. It basically
looked like he had a lot of Botox. Like Hayden Panettiere and him just said, well, obviously that's not his real face, because in real life he looks a lot different. Like,
yes, but they kind of made it look like he was just an older version of his teenage self.
His teenage self,
yeah. Weird.
Yeah, which is really weird.
But I mean, I feel like this is now a franchise. I feel like this movie has now been either it was great when it started off and then it was kind of made fun of in the middle, and now it's being introduced to a whole new crop of kids who, you know, when they were our age was watching this type of movie, and I don't want the franchise to be killed by something like another part of this movie and it'd be really stupid. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know how movies, they keep going, and then by the time that they're ended, they're a joke. Like, it's not, you know, you kill such a great franchise. Like Halloween, my all-time favorite fucking movie, and there were so many bad remakes and so many bad, you know, I haven't even watched the latest one, but like, say, you know, the fourth one, the Season of the Witch was the fourth one? Which is
underrated, by the way. Number 3, Season of the Witch, is very underrated.
It's underrated, but it's like Scream 4. Like, it doesn't, there's really no point of it being there, and there was not a build up to it whatsoever. Like, Scream 4 was the one that had Parker Posey in it, correct?
No, that was Scream 3.
That was 3. See, I don't even remember 4. I don't even remember 4 4 for the fact that it didn't leave a lasting memory on me. So that's what I don't want for this movie franchise, is I don't want it, you know, it's now kind of circulating itself back. Like, the 90s is now starting to circulate back into everybody. And I think the movies that were in the 90s, some of them are bringing back. I just don't want this one to get lost in translation. Like,
I know what you did last summer is getting like a reboot.
Please to God, no.
Yes, it's happening.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Come on, man. Like, of all the movies,
yeah, it's happening. But let's circle back though. But I think overall, Scream 6 is a good movie. It's a good Scream movie. I think ranking out of these, I think it ranks kind of below Scream 2. So you can put them in. I put Scream 6 in the top 3.
I will actually. So I will do 1, 2, 6, and 5.
Okay, I can agree with that. 1, 2, 6, and 5, and then probably a tie for dead last between 4 and 3.
I would put 3 before 4.
Okay.
Like I said, 4, I just didn't. I don't even remember half of it. But like 5, even watching that one, I went into it kind of hesitating because, you know, you have the characters. You know, Dewey's character who looks old as hell. Yeah. And it started off really weird, but I mean, it still was a decent movie, and it led up to this one.
Right.
So, but I would definitely rank them that way.
Okay. Yeah, but I think for the next movie, which it's going to happen because this movie is a certified hit. It's made a ton of money already.
How much is it made?
It's made over, I think, domestically it's over $100 million, and it had a $44 million debut, and it's still making money. So if you're going to do it right for Scream 7, bring back Stu. And give Neve Campbell her money, and do what I just said, is either have him win and then set up Scream 8 with him like going to the cabin where she's at with her husband, the cop from Scream 3, and her kids. Just saying.
So now let me ask you on Jenna Ortega, and we've touched on Jenna before. Where do you think she stands now in the horror world?
For this movie, I think the focus was really primarily on Melissa Barrera's character. So
Agreed.
For Scream 6, Jenna Ortega's character was kind of taking almost like that second fiddle backseat.
Okay.
Jenna Ortega is now up for Beetlejuice 2, which has been announced, where she's going to be Lydia Dietz's daughter for Beetlejuice 2. Michael Keaton is coming back. Tim Burton's coming back to direct. So, that could be good. I think she's got a firm stamp in the horror world, where I heard Wednesday season 2 is going to be more horror than rom-com, which is good too as well.
That's what she wants to focus on.
Exactly. So I think she's got a good stamp in it. I would love to see maybe in the next Scream movie, since her and everybody else survived, I think either her sister's got to go or she's got to go.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying.
She's got to go.
She's got to go or the sister's got to go. You know what? Maybe a good premise would be, since this is, of course, ladies and gentlemen, this is my hopeful script that would happen. Stu is the killer. And the devil on her shoulder, her dad, Billy Loomis, is trying to tell her, hey, join in on the fun. Mm-hmm. But in the end, she says, no, Dad. And then finally the ghost goes away and she helps out with killing Stu. Mm-hmm. And then the ghost of plastic face Billy Loomis goes away. You know what I mean?
That could be
and she can avenge her sister's death because maybe you knife up Jenna Ortega. Or Melissa Barrera's character sacrifices herself and spite her for her dad,
trying to tell her to
be knife happy.
See, I don't even know why they even put that in the movie.
Either do I. Obviously, we find out in Scream V that Billy Loomis is her dad, but I just think the whole ghost devil on the shoulder thing is very unnecessary.
Yeah, that was kind of weird. I don't, now you're confusing everybody. You're is she supposed to be a killer?
Well, no, because now you're bringing in that supernatural element.
Yeah.
Where the Scream movies are not supernatural. They're real world. They're psycho killers instead of having a ghost on the shoulder with Botox in his face. And looking weird. He's 50, 60 years old, but he's looking like he's trying to be 20. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was just not a good look whatsoever. I'm sorry for Skeet Ulrich having to put himself through that, but that is not a good look by anything. I was very confused over that. I'm like, what the fuck is this? What?
Yeah, I rewatched clips from Scream 5. I was like, okay, this is kind of weird looking, and then seeing it in the theater for Scream 6, I was like, okay, this is even weirder now seeing it on the big screen. So
when she was revealed to be Billy Loomis's daughter, I think we've talked about this before, that how is this even possible?
Yeah.
What?
I'm still kind of flabbergasted, still dumbfounded about how this is even possible, unless he had a child when he was 18.
Maybe they didn't think that. I don't know, because he was with Sydney in high school.
Yeah,
and killed.
Well, remember in one of the Scream, I think it was Scream 4, where the spoof, hey, it's another stab movie where they introduced time travel. Maybe he did time travel actually in the real universe and went back in time and impregnated somebody.
God,
I'm just kidding. That's not real. Everybody, don't take that for face value.
Yeah, don't. But I don't understand how they even concocted that kind of plan. And I'm wondering if somebody in the background's going, shit.
Yeah, shit.
Think of the age gap.
Exactly. But in the end, everybody go see Scream 6. It's a great movie, except for the ending. Hopefully, Scream 7 will take cues from what I just talked about, and we should see some Stu back. I have the shirt on, so
yes. So for those who don't know what Evan's got on, I got him a shirt that says Stu Marker on it. It's actually a pretty good shirt.
Oh, by the way, I didn't realize what you meant on the birthday gift that you got me until. You said, where's Waldo? I'm like, what are you talking about? And then you're like, I put you up front. I'm like, wait a minute.
I figured you didn't.
And then I saw my face and I'm like, oh, now I get it.
I figured that's what the problem was. So Evan's birthday is.
So thank you.
And my birthday is next month. And so I got him. You actually have another birthday present coming to you.
Oh.
So I got him this present, and if he has it with him. So this is the photo for those who have never seen this before. Yep, there you go, right there. So this is a photo.
I'm right there.
Yep, at the end of the movie for The Shining, and that is Evan in the background with Jack Nicholson in front of him. So it was kind of cool.
We're just gonna party now in 1921 and everything. So
Yes.
I didn't realize that until you're like, did you find Waldo? I'm like, Waldo's not.
Well,
that
because when you
big.
messaged me, you're like, "Oh, this looks really cool. I'll get it framed." I was like, he didn't find himself.
I did not find myself because I thought you just got a picture of the ending scene, which was cool, even though like I didn't realize my face was in there. Like it was still a cool picture. Like it's like an iconic scene at the end. And then when you were talking about that, I looked at it and you put me next to the lady that's squinting, by the way.
Did I really?
Lady. Yeah, this lady. She's squinting.
Oh, well, I really didn't have a choice. He just kind of put you there, and I was like, all right, that looks good.
So it looks like I'm either goosing this lady or she farted. So
at least your face isn't bad to where it's like,
exactly,
or something like that.
So, all right. So before we wrap up, we've got some movie news.
Fantastic.
Rob Zombie is recording a new House of the Thousand Corpses commentary track for the 20th anniversary of House of the Thousand Corpses.
That's fantastic.
Yay. Well, you know what? Okay. I know we both hate this movie. I hate this movie. You
hate this movie. What is wrong with you? What?
You like this movie. I hate this movie. I think doing like the 20th anniversary with a commentary track is interesting and quite cool because Zombie is quite the articulate character when it comes to explaining things. So I would love to hear the commentary track.
He is actually very articulate, and his voice to begin with is kind of very like low and grumbly to begin with. So this, I agree with this. I do not like the Devil's Rejects movies. That's the ones I don't. House of a Thousand Corpses, fantastic movie. Other movies, no, I'm not a big fan of.
You texted me today. The official website for Nosferatu has been launched. The upcoming Robert Eggers remake of the classic horror film. I'm excited for this because Eggers is really good with his 3 films that he's put in: The Witch, The Lighthouse, and The Northman. If you haven't seen The Northman, it's a fantastic Viking film. It brings in a lot of genres into that film. It's a genre film. It's all about Vikings. It's brutal. It's great. It's on Amazon Prime right now, by the way.
For those who like Vikings.
If you like Vikings. But I'm excited to see what he does to Nosferatu because Nosferatu is such a classic horror film and it's been done a couple times. And then you have the Shadow of the Vampire movie with Willem Dafoe, which is like a behind the scenes version of that movie, which is it's a weird ass movie, but
it's still produced. I remember seeing it. That was like in the 2000s.
I think in the late 90s, early 2000s.
That was such a weird movie, but he made such a great Nosferatu.
Such a great Count Orlok.
Oh my
god! But this movie, funny enough, will star Willem Dafoe, Bill Skarsgård, Nicholas Hoult, Emma Corrin, and Lily Rose Depp, the daughter of Johnny Depp.
Really?
So Willem Dafoe will be in the movie.
Is he going to be Count Orlok?
No, I believe it's going to be Bill Skarsgård.
Yeah. Oh, that should be interesting.
I know you don't love him, but Jordan Peele's 4th movie will be released Christmas of 2024.
Absolutely.
It is and not announced what it is going to be yet, but it will be he's going to be playing around horror in space.
Oh God.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens.
This is a man that should have stuck to comedy and comedy alone.
I liked Us. It was all right.
Us was the only one that I liked.
It's the one movie you can tolerate.
No, wait, was it Us? What was the first one?
That was Get Out.
I liked Get Out.
See,
I didn't like Us.
I thought Get Out was too pretentious. I liked Us. Yeah.
Us was just weird.
You don't like it when I chop up your face.
You sound like
what?
You remember that movie, Galaxy? What is it? The one? God, what is that movie? The one where
I thought I sounded like Voldemort.
No, you don't sound like Voldemort.
Harry Potter.
Now you sound like Voldemort. Now I have to look at
who
this.
lived. Abacadabra.
Tim Allen. What was the movie that he?
Galaxy Quest.
Yes, you remember that one of the officers that sounded like that? Yeah.
Yes. You
yes.
Captain.
Now you just sound like you lost your voice. I don't know what's going on.
And finally, one of the most anticipated horror films of the year, Evil Dead Rise, is now sitting at a 96% Rotten Tomatoes score. It's gotten fantastic reviews across the board. which makes me want to see this movie even more. I did watch the review from IGN the other day, and they put it as a masterpiece, which IGN, and I will tell you this right now, IGN doesn't really give out masterpiece ratings.
No, they don't.
They usually give out 7s. They give out 7s like it's no tomorrow. So when they give Evil Dead Rise a masterpiece rating, I'm down. So I cannot wait to see this movie.
We're gonna have a watch party for this.
Yes.
Like we're gonna have I will be so disappointed and probably won't watch another movie for a long time if this movie sucks.
I will be just we're such fans of the Evil Dead series. It's like, okay, you've got all this hype, and this movie turns out to be a big bag of dog shit. Then we'll never listen to critics again. But the trailer knocked it out of the park. The Red Band trailer is just freaky as hell. And from the reviews we've been reading, it's such a great mix of horror, comedy, blood, guts, gore, everything else.
Which is what the original was of. Honestly,
exactly.
For those who are going to see this movie, don't go into it expecting it to be a flatlined horror movie.
Right.
And for those who've ever seen the Evil Dead, the original, there was campy comedy in that. So
Yes.
I think they're trying to pull that back into this movie, which I think is fine because it would actually round the whole thing out. But do not walk into it thinking that this is going to be just a straight out horror movie that's not going to be a tad bit funny.
If you don't know the Evil Dead series, then you have to go and watch the Evil Dead series because you won't understand the movie.
No.
At all. So that is it for movie news, and I think that should wrap up our latest episode of Come Play With Us, Danny.
Yes. So I will actually, like I promised last episode, I apologize. We actually saw this movie, so I wanted to review it. So I will put stuff on Instagram for you guys to request of what we're going to watch next episode, if you would like. Please make it something cool, funny, wonderful that maybe we haven't seen before.
Actually, when we end this broadcast, I'll tell you a couple of movies that we should go see that are available now on Amazon Prime. So, all right, everybody. For myself and my sister Megan, we will see you next time on Come Play With Us, Danny. We are out.